I'm going to start with some AFC teams that, frankly, are the ones that are most popular that we talk about on Fox Sports. And I want to start, with who's got the better pick and move down. So we're going to start all the way down at number 22 overall, and that would be the Baltimore Ravens. I was already going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens because I was asked to participate in a mock draft at Fox Sports last week, and go check it out on the website. And I was picking for the AFC North, which means that I needed to pay attention to what Baltimore was or was not doing. And I, putting on my GM hat, choose to operate as if Lamar Jackson is going to be my starting quarterback in 2023. I'm also going to operate like I have to give him more help if we're going to be good in 2023. And the thing that stuck out to me about the Baltimore Ravens is not that Mark Andrews is your best pass catcher. Tight end can be your best pass catcher. It's fine. Take a look at Travis Kelce and the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. But you got to have a generational quarterback back there like Patrick Mahomes. And you got to have dudes that can produce. So at wide receiver, I should say. The way I get at that is Baltimore's most productive receiver last year was Demarcus Robinson, who caught 48 passes for just 458 yards total. That was their leading receiver. Now that you got Todd Monken putting in a new offense, yeah, that's going to change. But you also need, other guys that can run in that offense that can make it go. So I decided that they should draft Jordan Addison out of USC because he still was on the board at the time. And he was the best available wide receiver. And I know that they've taken wide receivers in the first round in the past, but they ain't panned out. So you got to keep shooting. Shooters take shots, right? Shooters shoot. And Jordan Addison has shown that he can be not just prolific, but that he can carry the load. I mean, that was a 100-catch, 1,500-yard guy at Pittsburgh. And then, he went to a program in USC where they had dudes like him that you could throw the ball to, right? So he didn't get as many opportunities to make plays. And yet, when he did get those opportunities to make plays, he made them. Now, what has made this an even sexier pick for me is that the Ravens recently signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a ridiculously cool contract for him, which is going to pay him about $15 million in guaranteed money or $4 million more per year than any other receiver on the open market. I love Odell. The last time I saw him play football was the last time you saw him play football, and that was on a blown ACL, and he ain't played football in a year. So I got to believe two things on that. One, the Baltimore Ravens offered him more money than anybody else was ready to offer him, and or he knows that Lamar Jackson is coming back. If Lamar Jackson did the Devin White, who at the time we're recording this also requested a trade, perhaps getting an Odell Beckham Jr. off of an ACL tear is not the reason that you're going to come back walking through that door, as much as we love Odell Beckham Jr. However, I do like that they went to go address an absolute need, no matter who the quarterback is, and getting a wide receiver that you think can be good for you. And I still think you should go draft a wide receiver in the first round like Jordan Addison, because Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay were not enough to cut it for you. Hollywood Brown was a dude you could trade. I keep going down the list, and I don't want to keep doing that because I think we're all missing the point when I do that. James Prochet being another. But if you get the wide receivers that can help him, I think you also have a better chance of keeping him. However, you might think something different. And if you want to go get a quarterback where Anthony Richardson is still there, sure, maybe you can put him in a trade for Lamar Jackson when he goes. But right now, I still think that Jordan Addison is still the guy for you to go get. All right, next on the list for us are the Kansas City Chiefs, number 31 overall. That is the second to last pick in the draft. And the Chiefs are in a really cool spot here, which is not necessarily the best spot for NFL draft selection show, because you want to talk about the teams that have absolute needs. The needs for the Kansas City Chiefs are, we'd like to have it, right? They were able to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the first round because they just thought we'd like to have it. So I looked at what the Chiefs need, or what we all think of as positions of need. And I say right tackle, wide receiver, and edge. Okay, I think they got the right tackle situation more or less sorted out. You can get a wide receiver if that's what you want, but those dudes are down in Fort Worth, Texas, working out with Patrick Mahomes, and I choose to believe good things about that, along with some very cool Valdez-Scantling scuttlebutt going around. That dude might actually turn out to be an absolute dude in 2023. However, I think that the pick here is Ohio State edge Zach Harrison. that's the freakiest edge that we're just not talking enough about. Like, I get that he did not live up to the 5-star billing that he had when he signed with Ohio State, but he's still 6'6". He's still 260 pounds, and he still ran a sub 4.5 40-yard dash, and he's got hangers. He's got absolute hangers for arms. Like, I ride a motorcycle. That dude's a chopper. All right. He's going to get his hands up in front of people. He's going to get his hands on people. He's going to bring people to the ground. I think you can afford to go get that dude and put him on the edge and see what happens, because he can be that good. If you are in a position where you can bet on a guy with a higher ceiling than, say, a higher floor, I think that's the move, right? As opposed to a guy like Will McDonald, who I love, but we're talking about the NFL, in which I think that he's a linebacker and not necessarily an edge guy. Like, I put Will McDonald in a tweener category in a 3-4, whereas Zach Harrison can do all of those things. And I think he gives you a lot more versatility, and you would not be wrong to spend a first-round pick on him. Okay, next on the list for me are the Cincinnati Bengals, who are selecting number 28 overall. And I looked at their depth chart, and I looked at what they had done, and I noticed that Irv Smith and just one other tight end have caught passes at the tight end position for the Cincinnati Bengals, right? You need somebody else in the middle of the field to catch passes, not named Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. Michael Mayer's going to be there. Michael Mayer is good, sound money. He's not necessarily the upside of Darnell Washington, but I would tell you that Darnell Washington wasn't even the best tight end on his team. That was Brock Bowers. And Michael Mayer was the leading receiver for Notre Dame last year, a team that frankly did not want to throw the ball much unless they're throwing it to him. Like, it's like that. I mean, people want to call him Baby Gronk, and I get that nobody's going to be Gronk. But when you talk about a dude that is reliable, dependable, and I think could be another Mike Andrews style of tight end where he could be prolific for you and really help Joe get rid of the football, because you know how much Joe likes to hold on to the football, you go get a guy like Michael Mayer. 65 catches, 800 yards, a consensus All-American, a local kid, as people want to say, having gone to Notre Dame and South Bend. I think that's a good selection for them at 28. And then also in the first round, number 27 overall, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, who need a tailback. And I'm shocked by this, because I wasn't really paying attention to Buffalo because I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm really in on the NFC most of the time. But Buffalo has not had a 1,000-yard rusher at tailback, or 1,000-yard rusher, period, since Josh Allen entered the league. And I found that wild, but I went to go check, and Devin Singletary has led them in rushing each of the last 4 years, and his best output was 870 in a year. And by the way, in 2019, Josh Allen was the leading rusher for the Buffalo Bills. I get that dude can sling it. I get that people bounce off that dude. And I get that Stephon Diggs is a walking first down, but you got to be able to run the football, and you got to be able to expect the dude 7.5 yards deep to be able to make somebody miss. That said, Bijan Robinson's still there. You go get him. I don't think he's going to be there, because I already mocked him to the Eagles, and then I mocked him to the Cowboys. I have a hard time seeing him fall to the Buffalo Bills. But if that's the case, and Bijan has gone to the Eagles or Dallas or someone else before the 27th overall pick, I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is a great guy to go get there. Jahmyr Gibbs, who led the Alabama Crimson Tide in both rushing and receiving. And I think that that is important. A dude that can be a 3-down back for you, a guy that people actually have to acknowledge if you split him out, a dude that you can trust to run between the tackles, and took full advantage of 1 year at Alabama after basically dying on the vine at Georgia Tech with all of this ability. And also, pointedly, a dude that can make somebody miss in the second level and maybe hit a home run for you. Really love me some Jahmyr Gibbs, and I think he would fit well for Buffalo, who, if they get a 1,000-yard rusher, maybe that's the difference between being really good and winning the Super Bowl. All right, number 17 overall. My goodness, the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are in a moment, because I believe that Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as the head coach, and James Harden has made the postseason in 14 consecutive years. Just kind of cool down there at Pittsburgh, but they had a need at linebacker because they could lose a couple of their guys. And I think that getting a guy like Jack Campbell on a rookie deal, a dude that understands what it means to play the kind of hard-nosed, hard-hat football defensively that Pittsburgh wants to play, and was frankly, I think, the most valuable player at Iowa last year on a defense that has been the second best in the country for 2 consecutive years. I mean, he notched 115 total tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups, 2 picks, and a forced fumble last year. He had a pick 6 in there too. I mean, won the Buckets Award for the nation's best linebacker, and I thought was the dude that made that defense go. I'd also add in here just quickly, Riley Moss, who's outstanding safety at Iowa, is going to try to enter the NFL as a cornerback. We haven't seen a white quarterback in the NFL since 2018 when Troy Apke, and before that, hadn't seen a starter since Jason Sehorn. It's been like 20 years. I think Riley can do it. I hope that he gets a chance to prove it. But Jack Campbell just feels like a great fit for Pittsburgh and what they want to be and how they would like to grow, natural leader for them. And if Riley Moss is able to join him 2nd, 3rd, 4th round at corner, all's the better. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.